Mick Quinn wrote his own chapter in Geordie folklore. He scored 4 of the 5 goals Leeds conceded on the opening day. Bobby Davison, even closer. He'd scored in the opener and now made it 2 in 2 with a precise finish. Whenever Strachan was on the ball, United threatened. Baird got the first touch, Jones the last, and Leeds the vital breakthrough. Nevertheless, United hit back to take maximum points in the Boothferry Park derby. Bobby Davison made sure, but the goal credit went to Ian Baird. Swindon struggled to hold the darting Hendry, and the first serious decision for referee George Courtney was to award Leeds a penalty. Gordon Strachan made sure that John Hendry... His corner provided the first clear-cut chance, and with striker Bobby Davison in razor-sharp form, the resulting goal surprised no one. With consecutive away games. First they travelled to Port Vale, but for the first time in 9 games they failed to find the net. They only managed 1 effort that counted at Upton Park, but it was enough to lift victory, and it proved a personal high for bad boy Vinny. The league table, though, told its own story. A 9-match unbeaten run had taken United into 3rd. Again a set-piece featuring Gordon Strachan, and United's movement up front so bewildered the Waysiders that Davison was left unchallenged to power home his 5th goal in 11 games.
The penalty spot as Strachan delivers the corner, and Bobby Davison scores the first for Leeds. Batty. Leeds have plenty of men up, and Davison is here, and Davison scores for Leeds. What a glorious cross it was as well. Davison perfectly positioned to pounce.
Good ball inside the back for Sterling, the chance to cross. Hard and low, near post, the goal! And that's Ian Baird. The drought is over for Ian Baird. His 3rd goal of the season, and suddenly the slumbering giant awakens.
Despite Strachan's 3rd in as many games, Baird's 2nd in succession, and Andy Williams' 1st for the club, Filbert Street was to Leeds what Waterloo had been to Napoleon. Defeat contained 2 dubious goals by the home side, but the unbeaten run was over. Again it was Fairclough to the rescue with his 2nd goal in 3 games. Despite Chris Fairclough's 3rd goal in 4 games, United, in the words of their manager, lacked the desire to compete in the first 45 minutes at West Brom. It brought defeat and a demand for 92 points to guarantee promotion.
Switches the point of the play. Jones. Over the top. This is dangerous. Sterling. Where's the cross for Baird? What a goal for Leeds! A 5-point gap between Leeds and Newcastle in 2nd and 3rd positions.
Chris Fairclough sealed United's win at Ayresome Park after Carl Schutt, deputising for the injured Davison, had shot Leeds ahead. It was their first win at Middlesbrough for 14 years, and it took them to the top of the table, but only for 24 hours. Mel Sterling's return to the city of his birth provided him and United with the ideal Christmas present. Carl Schutt, another son of the Steel City, grabbed his 2nd in 3 games, and honours were even. The trip to Barnsley was less rewarding 4 days later. United hadn't won at Ewood Park for almost 25 years, significantly in their last promotion season. Chapman, though, began to repay his £400,000 fee immediately.
Now it comes through, and Batty leads the chase out, and he's got Hendry wide on his right. He delayed a little bit. Hendry is barged over inside the penalty area. Hendry scores though. John Hendry gets the second for Leeds.
Third place Swindon Town had been thrashed at Elland Road, but in their own backyard proved a different proposition. Then Leeds had their best effort ruled out in the second half. For the second successive game, Leeds United had failed to register a goal. They'd reckoned without Leeds' fighting spirit and Chapman's finishing power. But Pompey were not destined to keep him quiet for long. Importantly, it took the team 10 points clear with only 9 matches to play. Sheffield United's games in hand were still to be won. Mike Whitlow was back in the team and Chris Kamara on the bench for the tough-looking visit to Molineux. United were nilled and beaten by a single goal. It was the start of an horrendous sequence that yielded just 2 points out of 12. 2 more were surrendered at Plymouth despite another goal from Lee Chapman. For the second game in a row, Peter Haddock conceded a penalty and his manager sprang to his defence. Mr Wilkinson also set his players a new target of winning 4 of their final 6 matches. Easter began with a plastic experience at Cocker-Hoop Oldham, who despite 2 recent FA Cup semi-finals never looked like losing. The bright spot was the return of Davison, who scored United's lone goal. Now the cushion had gone. The Blades had closed the gap to goal difference only, and Newcastle were in the frame after an inspired run.
Gary Speed the header on towards Strachan. Strachan inside the box, he must score. Kamara, Strachan, it's 1-0. And Leeds finally get the goal.
After the crushing of their biggest rivals, Leeds were well fancied to win at the Goldstone ground, but lowly Brighton weren't in the mood to surrender. With just 3 games left, the pack were now closing on the leaders, and there was a major shock for Leeds in their next fixture. Within minutes of joining the action, O'Connell was on the scoresheet. But the Leeds manager was less than impressed with his keeper's efforts to save.
Sterling, again it'll be towards Chapman, headed out, and now McAllister back from Strachan. Here's Strachan again! Have you ever seen a better goal? And have you ever seen one better timed?
Race for the title was all down to the final 90 minutes of a pulsating season. All 3 candidates faced away trips. United's 2 previous post-war promotion seasons had both ended in triumph away from home. The deadlock remained as Beglin joined the attack. Bournemouth were defending desperately now. Their second division status was at stake. It was preserved for the moment by the upright. Leeds mounted unrelenting pressure, and their persistence finally paid off. It was the classic 1-2 that realised the dream and captured the title. It had been a gloriously successful campaign, masterminded by Howard Wilkinson and executed by his players. Emotions had run high throughout, forging a special bond between the most loyal fans in the country and the players who'd made Leeds United the second division champions.
Howard Wilkinson's team refused to be overawed on their return, striking first when the former Spurs defender Chris Fairclough journeyed upfield and unchallenged was able to get in a successful free header.
The following Tuesday, Gordon Strachan led out the side against his former club. A tense game, no goals, 1 point each.
And they went further ahead 8 minutes before half-time when attempts to clear their lines by the Norwich defenders failed and Gary McAllister's back header found Chapman for his second of the afternoon.
Commitment of their first half display. And Paul Stewart provided the pass over the top of Fairclough. Howells hit it first time and Lukic will be disappointed.
Then came one of the most extraordinary goals of the season so far. Carl Bradshaw caught in possession and Gordon Strachan on his own with a very long way to go. And Strachan scored with a miss-hit shot. And he enjoyed every second of it. And some marvellous work from England fullback Lee Dixon. Out of trouble there. And a great ball for Paul Merson. Limpar in on it once again.
The right place for Leeds, but the wrong men there. And here come Palace, and it's Ian Wright, who could be the right man for Thomas. It's a goal. Leeds should have been leading, and they're trailing.
2 points gained in 2 draws with 2 of the league's best teams. 8th place in the division, consolidating the good start to the season. In the Rumbelows League Cup, the opening game saw Leeds lose at Leicester, before 3 goals in the last 15 minutes of the second leg took United through 3-1 on aggregate.
Full for a lot of defences this year. And just watch this brilliant solo effort just before half-time. A superb individual goal.
Following week at Villa Park, Leeds were unable to score against the side who had handsomely beaten Inter Milan earlier in the week in the UEFA Cup. Then came the third round of the Rumbelows League Cup. Oldham never looked like causing an upset as Chapman and Speed scored first half goals in an easy victory. It was Leeds' 100th game in the competition.
And they add to that lead 20 minutes into the second half through Gary McAllister. What a good effort that was.
McAllister's break from the free kick that set it up. He caught them all by surprise and delivered the perfect cross onto the head of one of the great predators in the game.
Underline their superiority. Chapman once more has a roll. He heads it down to Carl Shutt, and a sweet cross coming up, and a fine volley too from Gary Speed. That's the 3rd time in a row.
10 points out of the last 12. Leeds climbing the table, 5th now, chasing Liverpool and Arsenal. The 4th round of the Rumbelows League Cup took Leeds to Loftus Road. Rangers had won at Elland Road a month earlier in the league, but 3 goals in 20 minutes killed off any chance of a repeat, and United went through to the quarter-finals. A month without defeat.
Leeds strike back 5 minutes later. Mel Sterland from 25 yards. 1-1.
Another 7 points in the last 3 games, and just like old times, Leeds becoming legitimate title contenders. 11 points, though, behind the league leaders, Liverpool. The second cup competition of the season, the Zenith Data Systems, got underway with a visit to Molineux and a 2-1 win over Wolverhampton Wanderers, a hard-earned victory with a depleted team.
The inspiration for Leeds, his corner met first time by Mel Sterland. The fullback enjoying the holiday period, his second goal in consecutive games.
Ball from the keeper, a favourite tactic of theirs. You think they might know how to defend against it, but Gary Speed ran virtually unchallenged to collect the ball and score with ease.
Field full of hope that faded fast after only 7 minutes. A magical nutmeg from David Burrows, a penetrating cross, and a beautiful finish from John Barnes, right-footed too.
Leeds failed the ultimate test at Anfield, and the unbeaten run of 14 games comes to an end. But 9 points have come from the 4 holiday matches, and Leeds are now 4th. So to the FA Cup, and on a blustery Sunday, Barnsley, who were the only side to do a second division double over Leeds last season, held United to a 1-1 draw, both goals coming in the final 10 minutes. The replay, though, was one-way traffic. 2 goals in the first 6 minutes, 2 in the last 7. Leeds through to the 4th round.
Norwich have produced some of their best results against the class acts of the First Division. After 16 minutes, Jeremy Goss creates the opportunity. Tim Sherwood has scored some great ones this season, and there's another.
For Batty's throw. Oh, and Chapman. And Fairclough. 2-0. So the throw did the damage.
4th in the league, and now the cup games are coming thick and fast. The quarter-finals of the Rumbelows competition saw one of the best performances of the season. A 4-1 victory over Aston Villa leads into the semi-finals. In the Zenith Data Systems Cup, United completely dominated this game and should have scored more than 2, the late Derby goal giving the scoreline a flattering look. The 4th round of the FA Cup saw Leeds travel to league leaders Arsenal, and a tactical battle ended in a draw. The replay came 3 days later at Elland Road, Leeds scoring first, Arsenal replying a minute later, and even extra time couldn't separate the teams. Another replay would follow in 2 weeks' time, but before that, a league game at White Hart Lane.
White Hart Lane had already been deprived of Spurs' Paul Gascoigne and David Batty, Leeds' own midfield dynamo. Just 2 minutes into the game, the Yorkshire side's top scorer Lee Chapman collapsed on the touchline after a challenge with Steve Sedgley. Chapman received a nasty cut after crashing down on the cinders. For a while it looked serious, but thankfully, after several minutes, he was able to walk away.
Back in the Cups, the Rumbelows semi-finals saw Leeds lose at Old Trafford on Gordon Strachan's 100th consecutive appearance for the club. At Elland Road 2 weeks later, a last-minute winner from Lee Sharp ended one route to Wembley for Leeds. Then in the FA Cup, a third tie against Arsenal was scoreless thanks to David Seaman's brilliance at one end and Lee Dixon missing a penalty at the other. The 4th match between the sides finally settled it. 2 goals in the first half from the Gunners left Leeds with an almost impossible task, although Lee Chapman's goal gave United a ray of hope. Another route to Wembley is blocked. The last chance came in the Zenith Data Systems Cup, and this time Leeds progressed. 2 goals in the last 3 minutes of extra time, preventing the tie going to a penalty shootout.
15 minutes from time, though, Rodney Wallace sets up Glenn Cockerell, whose superb finish ensures Southampton 3 much-needed points.
Elland Road, Leeds United were hoping to avoid their 3rd successive defeat of the season, which would have been their worst run under Howard Wilkinson's management. And it was one of Wilkinson's team changes that paid dividends on the half hour. Bobby Davison playing his first full game of the season, putting Leeds in front.
Now Alan Smith. Campbell. That's the inspiration we've been looking for. Yep. And Kevin Campbell has provided it.
The 6th meeting of Leeds and Arsenal again going in the Gunners' favour. Leeds' hopes now in the league resting with a possible qualification for Europe. The last route to Wembley is closed in the Zenith Data Systems Cup with a 3-3 draw in the first leg of the Northern Area final, followed by Everton's 3-1 home win just 2 days later, the winning goals coming in extra time.
So away went Salako, his speed got him into the position, he turns it back, and Ian Wright with the header inside Lukic's right hand upright.
Chelsea hoping to improve on a record of just 1 win in 6 games, but they fall behind after just 10 minutes. Carl Schutt, the scorer for Leeds. Superb third, 10 minutes before the interval. Mel Sterling's free kick, and look at that header from Gary Speed. 3-0. Plough Lane, the Yorkshire side, cherishing hopes of a place in Europe next season. A brilliant cross from Strachan. Lee Chapman with his 24th goal of the season, and Leeds a step closer to European football. 4th win in a row at Elland Road. Niall Quinn typically flicks on the corner, and Andy Hill heads past John Lukic in the home goal. 1-0 to City, 26 minutes gone.
There was no risk, I don't think, of him getting ahead of anything here.
Visitors at Loftus Road, their trip to London far from successful though. After a goalless first half, Rangers take the lead. Roy Wegerle, too slippery for Fairclough and Sterling. 1-0 QPR.
3 defeats in a row, United's poorest run in the league this season. And after the following Saturday's games, with Leeds having the weekend off, the club find themselves in 6th place.
Wright and Dean Saunders, both targets for clubs on the continent and at home. And Derby can't produce a swan song against Leeds. Only goal of the game, Carl Shutt, the scorer. Villa's First Division future is by no means assured. There's a mistake by England international David Platt, letting in McAllister, and his cross goes in off the unfortunate Villa fullback. And the Yorkshire Derby at Elland Road, Mel Sterland with a free kick from just outside the box. Leeds in front, just 11 minutes gone. It stays that way till half-time. But not for long. 4 minutes from time, Forest get the winner. Ian Wone for Hodge, and Clough beats Lukic. Forest then unbeaten in the last 7 matches.
So beaten at Nottingham Forest on the final league Saturday, but 4th in the table, a very creditable performance on Leeds' return to the top flight. In cup competitions, United failed at the last hurdle to reach Wembley in the Rumbelows and Zenith Data Systems Cups. And that 4th game against Arsenal proved their undoing in the FA Cup.
We've got to improve. We've got to be better than we were this season, and therefore we've got to do better than we did this season. If this club's to thrive and prosper and stay vibrant, we've got to be in there mixing it with the best.
Both sides had chances that night, but Leeds were the better team and secured all 3 points with a solitary goal.
It's the start Leeds required.
He enjoyed his return to the Dell and played an important part in a classy United victory.
Sterling going down the right. The substitute looking for an early cross. It's bounced away to Speed. Oh, that's with his right foot. That's a great goal from Gary Speed.
All the way, but it's fallen to Leeds and Dorigo. Gary Speed. And it's over the top, and it's Chapman. And that's the first time Schmeichel's been beaten this season in the league. And perhaps even an element of a mistake.
Thing about it.
Strachan takes the corner again. Comes on the penalty spot, really. It's out to Dorigo. Half volley. Oh, that's a super goal from Tony Dorigo. His first goal for Leeds United.
That victory shunted Leeds up another 2 places to 2nd in the table, and they weren't to leave the top 2 again this season. They stayed 2nd despite a below-par performance in a goalless game at Coventry.
Again, the skipper with the corner. Again to the near post. Groblad did his best. Dorigo's in there. So too Hodge and Steve Hodge. Well, this is his first full game of the season.
Overall, you know, you've got to be happy with a draw away from home. If you're winning your home games, a draw away from home, and the occasional victory, we'll see you, you know, well into the fore by Easter.
Crystal Palace, the only goal from a disputed free kick well into injury time. Everyone was biting their nails by the end.
Sterling winding himself up for another long throw-in by the looks of things. There he goes, edge of the 6-yard box. Chapman's beaten in the air, but Leeds have taken the lead. And it's Steve Hodge again. And no matter, it's 3-1. Strachan, not too much space for him, so he leaves it for McAllister to try an ambitious shot, and it's gone in. It's 4-1. One of the goals of the season from Gary McAllister.
October the 26th, 1991 was the first time Leeds actually grabbed top spot. Manchester United's defeat at Sheffield Wednesday, coupled with Leeds' unspectacular victory over Oldham at Elland Road, sent the fans home happy. But it was to prove a brief stay at the top. They slipped to 2nd after only managing a goalless draw at Wimbledon, and John Fashanu hit the crossbar at that.
Sterling's going to drive one, it's deflected, and Stejskal is incredibly beaten. Mel Sterling gets his 3rd goal of the season. A wicked deflection, because it was certainly going in. I think Seeley might just have helped it onto the post or even wide. But first to the loose ball was Rodney Wallace.
as Leeds strengthened their hold on top spot.
And throw from Batty again this time. Chapman bouncing around. It's Wallace. He's done it again. Oh, joy for Rodney Wallace and for Leeds United. Encouraged to come forward by the space donated to him. Chapman, a little bit of a tussle there. And Sterling's done well outside of the boot. Hodge again. It's 2-0. Leeds double their lead.
A late penalty converted by Mel Sterling saved Leeds' honour in the league game, and in retrospect, what a vital penalty that was.
Punish them again. Chapman up there again. He's got it to McAllister. Now a chance for Gary McAllister. That's a good goal. What a good finish from Gary McAllister. And that's only his third goal of the season. The big men were in there for the knockback, and there was Chris Fairclough, and there was Lee Chapman. Great start for Leeds, and great start for Chapman against one of his, well, pretty many former clubs. Bird's eye view there. Oh, Batty's dispossessed him. Now chances for Leeds here. Strachan comes, it's 3 against 1. Batty's going alone. He shoots, and he's scored a sensational goal. Well, David Batty doesn't get too many, does he? But that must surely be his best.
He'd signed the French international Eric Cantona on loan for the rest of the season, a move that was to become permanent. The Frenchman's debut, though, was eminently forgettable. He came on for Steve Hodge at half-time in a poor display against Oldham. Leeds didn't create one real chance, and a goal in each half for the Latics sent Leeds spinning to their second league defeat and knocked them off top spot too. Which finished 1-1. This goal from Carl Schutt, or was it an own goal from Martin Keown, put Leeds in front, but Matt Jackson's header restored the balance. Huff and Sterling reduced Leeds to 9 men on the field, but they battled on, held on for a goalless draw, and will feel they ought to have won. Gordon Strachan, though, failed from the penalty spot for the first and only time this season.
Goal for Leeds United. Strachan again. Here's Cantona, good touch. McAllister takes it in his stride. Gary McAllister, has it got the legs? It has. It's 3-1 to Leeds United. Gary McAllister.
Wilkins again. Allen's going in there. Lukic is lost for the moment. My goodness, there was nearly another break for him. And now Sinton with a shot.
It's looking a little edgy there for a time. Oh, Cantona, he's on his own. Can he get another goal? He can. It's 4 for Leeds. And Eric Cantona, probably the first time, livens an encounter. It wasn't the most thrilling, but Leeds are in front. Now can they hold on? Arsenal kicking themselves. They've had a few chances themselves. They've got a slight deflection there, but it all...
He was surely less pleased at a 0-0 draw the following weekend against West Ham. It left Manchester United breathing down Leeds' neck with a stack of games in hand. It ended 4-0. That championship flame had been rekindled.
Strachan still going. Now Wallace. He's squeezed it in. Rodney Wallace at the near post for Leeds United.
Losing 2-1 at home to Nottingham Forest, and in a tense rather than exciting game, Leeds edged out Coventry City, who were battling for their own Premier League lives.
Fairclough scores a priceless opener.
Leeds returned to the top with that win, but they still weren't favourites for the crown. Manchester United had a game in hand still, but astonishingly failed once more, 1-0 at bottom club West Ham. For the first time, Leeds knew their destiny lay in their own hands, and the season entered its last lap.
Netting Gannon's corner for Sheffield United. Leeds can't get it clear. Cork! He scored! Leeds will get the free kick there. Strachan looking to take it quickly, and does do so. There's Wallace. Speed now against Gale, and Wallace, it's in! Well, would you believe it? That's an absolutely astonishing goal. Well, you get the feeling the next goal is going to be vital. There's McAllister's free kick. Newsom! Oh, it's 2-1! John Newsom! Still, Sheffield United are causing Leeds problems. Here's another one of those Gannon corners again. It's back in off Chapman. Lee Chapman got the final touch. Well, Leeds just clear it anywhere. Happy with the point at this stage, I think. It's 2-2, but for the even stature winner. Cantona's racing on. Gale in there. He's needed up. He's headed it over. It's gone in. It's 3-2. The most remarkable goal. And it could just decide the championship. The last seconds are always the longest when you're winning. It's all over.
Leeds were 4 points clear, and the fans who'd screamed out, "Are you watching Manchester?" each time that Leeds took the lead at Sheffield, now settled back to watch themselves and see if Manchester United could stay in the race. And the rest, as they say, is history.
A bit like after the Lord Mayor's parade so far. Here, midway through the first half now. Wallace. He took it on the halfway line. He's still going. He's gone past another. Rod Wallace. And it's gone in as well. That is a remarkable... Scored last week.
For the record, Manchester United won their last game, but Leeds finished a commanding 4 points clear of their rivals. It was a season in which Leeds surpassed most expectations, perhaps even their own and those of their fans. But in the end, they were seen to deserve all they achieved. And Leeds, both the team and the city that supports it, can justly be proud.
You just cannot put into words in a short space of time the importance of a league championship.
We are so proud, we shouted.